In the majority of the world's frigid oceans, flounder fishing is something that is done. It is Alaska and the Arctic Ocean that are responsible for the largest catches. Are you familiar with the methods that Russian fishermen use to catch halibut in the Arctic? Explore with us right now, will we? Fishing is not just a job in the chilly waters of Russia's northern regions, where the Barents Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Arctic Ocean are all cold. But it is also an age-old tradition and a way of life. Fish that are caught for commercial purposes in this region include flounder, which is considered to be one of the most economically and nutritionally beneficial fish. The flounder has become the primary goal of Russian fishermen's expeditions, particularly in the region and the Kola Peninsula, where they catch more than 500,000 tons of flounder each year. Its big size, white deliciousness, and rising demand on a global scale have contributed to its popularity. An example of a flatfish that is among the largest in the world is the Atlantic halibut. It is a technical and physical challenge to fish in these waters because they live in cold, deep waters that are often between 200 and 1,000 meters below the surface. There are some fishing vessels that are not capable of easily catching significant numbers of flounder. Easily accomplishing this task requires vessels that have been specifically developed for fishing in deep water. Because of the high prices that swimming fish fetch on foreign markets, particularly in Europe and Asia, Russian fishermen and seafood enterprises make a significant amount of money from this seafood. On the other hand, capturing this fish is not an easy task. A grasp of the marine environment, the ability to handle a boat, patience, and the use of specialist fishing equipment are all required aspects. Bottom trawling and trolling with long lines are the two primary methods that Russians utilize to collect flounder. Each technique has its own set of qualities that allow it to cater to a variety of fishing situations and locations. The bottom trawling method is a well-known industrial fishing technique that is particularly well suited for large vessels that are equipped with contemporary mechanical systems. The net is constructed in the form of a massive bag, with a mouth that is open to a great extent, and it is dragged over or close to the water by two significant iron doors. It is impossible for the fish to escape once they are caught in the mouth of the net because it is being drawn across the bottom of the water. At both MMS, which is home to the headquarters of a large number of important fishing enterprises, bottom trawlers normally spend anywhere from 7 to 20 days at sea. Every excursion is painstakingly planned, with regions with high fish density being selected, relying on radar and experience, preparing fuel and food for the crew, and preserving equipment. During the day and night, the procedure of pulling the net is carried out. Between 2 and 4 hours may be allotted for each session of net pulling. Upon the completion of the net collection process, the fish are taken up to the deck where they are immediately classified. After that, the fish are moved to a cold storage cellar, where they are either stored with ice or with a fast freezing method. This approach is controversial due to the influence it has on the ecosystem of the bottom and the amount of fish that it overfishes, despite the fact that it is very efficient and capable of capturing massive volumes. In an effort to safeguard the nation's fishery resources, the Russian government has recently implemented restrictions that restrict the amount of time, sea area, and number of trawls taken throughout each season. Compared to trawling, longline fishing is a method that is more environmentally friendly and adheres to more traditional fishing practices. The majority of fishermen who fish on a small or medium scale would rather use this strategy. It is difficult to operate trawling vessels due to the complex seabed terrain, which is especially prevalent in locations with deep water. The length of a long fishing line can range anywhere from a few hundred meters to tens of kilometers, and it features hundreds of hooks linked to it. Every hook is rigged with a tiny fish as bait. In the vicinity of the seabed, where flounder are frequently found, the line is released. Following a period of 6 to 12 hours, the line is drawn up and the fish are collected. Over a significant number of fishing families in the Bars region continue to use long lines as their primary way of catching flounder. Despite the challenges, They are of the opinion that this is the morally responsible method to utilize the water. Vessels increasingly use global positioning systems, GPS, deep red sensors, and underwater cameras to track fishing lines in order to boost their efficiency. Additionally, in order to lessen the amount of manual effort required, several vessels are outfitted with automatic rope release and retrieval systems. The flounder that can be caught in the Russian North Sea is not an easy catch. Conditions of employment that are especially difficult to endure during the winter months include harsh weather, large waves, ice and snow, and long nights. The temperatures that fishermen are required to labor in might range anywhere from -10 to -30 degrees Celsius. Accidents are also common among those who are driving boats that are subjected to severe winds and ice. Consequently, ships always have a safety department that is responsible for monitoring the health of the crew as well as the condition of the equipment. Preserving fish after it has been caught is another issue that needs to be addressed. Fish can quickly lose its quality and value if it is not refrigerated or handled in the appropriate manner. The halibut are then taken to processing companies in or Oranges after they have had the opportunity to land. After being filleted, vacuum-packed, and deep frozen, the fish is then stored here. There is a portion of it that is consumed within the country, particularly in Moscow and St. Petersburg, where upscale restaurants place great emphasis on grilled halibut fillets. On the other hand, the majority of it is shipped to both Europe and Asia. With that being said, the melting of glaciers and the shifting of ocean currents are having an impact on the distribution of a great number of fish species, including flounder, as a result of climate change. When flounder are going further north into the Arctic Ocean, where fishing is getting more difficult and expensive, some Russian fishermen have reported that they are moving further north. Research on artificial flounder farming is being encouraged in Russia, particularly in the Emmes region, with the goal of ensuring the continued viability of fishing operations. However, the cultivation of this particular type of fish involves a significant amount of technology and cost, and it will not be possible to substitute wild fishing in the near future. Beyond the icy decks and roaring engines, there is a deeper story behind the colossal halibut caught in the Arctic waters of Russia. These massive flatfish, some weighing over 200 kilograms and measuring nearly 3 meters in length, are not only a commercial treasure, but also a symbol of status and challenge in certain Russian fishing communities. In some northern villages, catching a Leviathan halibut is considered a rite of passage. Among veteran fishermen along the Pechora and Kara seas, there's an old superstition. The halibut chooses the man. That is, only the most skilled, patient, and respectful seafarers are believed to be chosen by the deep to land these behemoths. Some fishermen carve a notch in their boats each time they land a halibut over 100 kilograms, a practice known locally as marking the sea's favor. What many don't know is that the behavior and migration patterns of halibut in the Arctic are being closely monitored by marine scientists using AI-powered sonar drones. In the Murmansk Marine Research Institute, biologists have tagged dozens of halibut with microchips to track their movements in real time. The data is used to better understand how changing salinity levels and undersea temperature layers caused by melting polar ice are affecting flounder habitats. This technology, paired with machine learning algorithms, now helps predict where high-density halibut zones will appear next season, giving eco-conscious fishermen a huge advantage. But there's another secret weapon in the Arctic halibut story: under-ice fishing platforms. In extreme northern zones like the Severnaya Zemlya archipelago, where traditional trawling is nearly impossible due to permanent ice cover, Russian engineers have developed mobile, drill-based rigs that allow small teams to lower baited lines directly through the ice sheet. Known as glacial pods, these futuristic shelters are equipped with solar panels, satellite comms, and heated floors. Though they catch fewer fish than large vessels, they operate in areas untouched by industrial fleets, yielding ultra-premium halibut for luxury markets. Halibut is also finding a new life in Russian gastronomy. In recent years, chefs in St. Petersburg and Vladivostok have begun to age halibut in fermented birch bark chambers, a revival of an ancient technique used by the indigenous Nenets people. The resulting product is tender, smoky, and carries notes of Arctic moss and wild salt, hailed by critics as the Russian answer to Japanese fugu. From an environmental standpoint, there's growing interest in smart nets, next-gen trawling gear embedded with real-time video and acoustic sensors that detect and avoid bycatch, drastically reducing accidental damage to marine ecosystems. A pilot project in the White Sea has shown that these nets can cut seabed contact by up to 60%, helping Russia balance industrial fishing with sustainability. But perhaps the most unexpected role of halibut has emerged in Arctic diplomacy. As new shipping routes open due to retreating sea ice, halibut-rich zones have become geopolitical flashpoints, especially near the maritime borders of Norway and Russia. Some Russian experts argue that future fish wars could be fought not over oil or gas, but over rights to these valuable underwater stocks. In this shifting seascape of tradition, technology, and tension, one thing is clear: the giant halibut is no longer just a fish. It is a keystone species of the Arctic economy, a barometer of climate change, a culinary muse, and a quiet player in global power dynamics. So the next time you enjoy a piece of grilled halibut, remember, it may have come not just from the sea, but from the edge of the world, where ice meets strategy and where the deep still hides giants.